Hello again. This is going to be the second part of my series on a mini argument of faith, and actually this is going to have to be a part 2A and a part 2B because I just realized that I can't squeeze all the material within the time frame necessary to put it on YouTube. So I'm going to continue my mini argument in this video, and then we'll wrap it up in actually part 3 actually. So picking up where I left off, I was discussing the reasonableness of faith and the reasonableness of a beyond, because the vast majority of the human race has had some notion of beyondness. Now, if you've been following the argument, I know that some of you, I kind of know what some of you think of, because normally you don't arrive at truth by popular vote. And I can already hear some of you saying, well, if everyone jumped off a cliff, would you do it also? Yet when faced with this almost uniform collective belief, almost the entire human race in a beyond, at minimum, this argues that it would be very unwise to dismiss belief in some type of beyond out of hand. There's certainly enough data to make the reality of some beyond at least possible, and maybe even probable. But my own simple experience supports the notion of some causal beyond. As a quality control specialist at one time, I know that you cannot, or you don't make quality products out of nothing without massive forethought, labor, and oversight. I know products don't just create themselves, and that manufacturing plants do not unfold smoothly by themselves from the basic laws of physics. Every tangible thing I've ever seen has been an effect of somehow distinct, which is somehow distinct from, yet a result of, a cause. Even this cause and effect relationships show a core meaning of beyond, because a cause is somehow beyond its effect, and the effect is somehow dependent on its cause. Beyondness could simply be some kind of casual priority, casual distance, or even separateness. So the notion seems reasonably intuitive to me. And as problematic as it might seem at first philosophically, the notion of a first cause to start the whole thing, that itself is uncaused, seems much less problematic than some infinite regress chain of causes extending indefinitely backward, but never having some actual start of it. Entirely part of the implications of the Big Bang cosmology of an actual beginning of the universe. As I make this video, according to much current thinking and consciousness studies, my consciousness has elements in it that are beyond the physical universe as we have historically considered it. And this beyond agency is somehow influencing the physical nexus of my brain, and then my tongue, and then my mouth, to produce this sentence. This seems reasonable enough and clear enough a notion to me. The level of precision of this concept of beyondness is somewhat lacking, but doesn't seem any more worse than everyday concepts like person, volition, cause, despair, logic, wisdom, good, individual, force, field, light, and so on. The fact that I cannot give really precise definitions for many of these basic elements of life or science and experience in no way counts against their reality. And most important, words are almost impossible to find precisely without apparent contradictions, such as light or life or existence, or circulatory reasons, force and matter, essence and attributes, and so on. Accordingly, even before I get to any possible historical evidences of this beyond, and the scores of philosophical arguments for the existence of a beyond, and the endless debates about these, it seems that a simple belief in some kind of beyond is quite reasonable. This belief seems to be a part of our thinking, evidenced by human history, and one that is still growing in influence, and one with concepts that find general illustration and practical support within our own experience. The second thing I've learned, that if I accept that there is a supernatural, or that a supernatural being caused this universe, and in my case I do, it is reasonable to believe that a supernatural cause must be as complex as this universe and anything a part of it. The human personality and consciousness is extremely complex, and it may be the most complex on Earth and in the universe. So therefore the supernatural cause should be, or we would expect to be as conscious and as personal as we are. The third thing I've learned is that the supernatural cause, hereafter referred to as the supernatural person, since this being is obviously superior to us in personality, consciousness, and creative power, because we're able to perceive an incredible amount of diversity and beauty within the universe and within all species, including people, so it is reasonable to perceive that the supernatural person would be as diverse and as beautiful. This person could have made a world without color, without music, without explosive variety of taste, of flowers, of life forms, and of people. Imagine if everyone in the world had the same type of face. The fourth thing that I've learned is that the supernatural person that calls this universe, and in essence created us to have hopes, dreams, fears, and constantly question, why am I here? What's the point of it all? How can I be happy? How can I make a difference? And so on. The fifth thing that I've learned is that the supernatural person made humanity with the ability to impact this world, for good and for bad. And so we have the works of mankind in such far-reaching extremes, such as Shakespeare, Duchesne, Gandhi, Abraham Lincoln, Michelangelo, Florence Nightingale, Lenin, Joan of Arc, Beethoven, Augustine, Genghis Khan, Booker T. Washington, and Mao, and so on and so on. Man has left his marks on this world, both good and bad. The sixth thing that I've learned is that we are natural beings. We're able to perceive certain attributes about ourselves. We as a species have affected our world, both good and bad. And each of us individually has a choice to affect our world for good and bad on all things, regardless of our theological or philosophical beliefs or the lack thereof. The seventh thing that I've learned is that as natural beings, we have needs. We have physical needs for food, clothing, and shelter. We have mental needs, the needs for knowledge and understanding. We have emotional needs for security and stability. We have financial needs. We need money, which of course helps meet a lot of those other needs. We have social needs, the need for companionship and belonging, and we have spiritual needs. Why are we here? What is our purpose? The eighth thing that I've learned is that we've been able to find many ways to meet most of our needs on our own. However, as a species, we're not able to meet all of our needs collectively or as satisfying as we would like. There are still hunger, starvation, ignorance, fear, instability, poverty, and loneliness, and have always been and still are big problems for the human race. And the spiritual need seems to always be lacking and is often not satisfied at all. The result is human beings becoming somehow restless and wondering about their place in the universe and in history. It quickly becomes clear that we're not able to figure it out on our own. We're not able to figure out how to meet all of our needs, especially the spiritual ones. As natural beings, we're always looking for and desiring a need for reliable, clear, and sufficient information on what to do. When it comes to meeting our needs, especially the spiritual ones, we've made many attempts through science, history, philosophy, world religions, and archaeology. The data isn't enough to meet those spiritual needs. We cannot figure it out either individually or in groups. Therefore, we become critically dependent on some communication or instruction from the supernatural person. Socrates put it this way on his deathbed: all the wisdom of this world is but a tiny raft upon which we must set sail when we leave this earth. If there were a firmer foundation upon which to sail, perhaps some divine word. Then Sigmund Freud, the meager satisfaction that man can extract from reality, leaves him starving. Which leads me to my next point. What would this communication from this supernatural being look like? What would it look like? It would have to be recorded in history, linguistic and translatable, and in everyday language. It would have to probably show up in those areas of life typically called religious. It would probably make some bizarre and incredible claims, and it would probably bear an authoritative tone, perhaps an exclusive tone. Finally, a true message from the Supreme Being might affect us strongly. Quotations from it might anger our pride, it might make us uncomfortable, make us nervous, or it might calm our fears. And I will finish the rest of the series on the next video. Thanks.